Hey everybody, welcome to the Sheepdog Project. Doc here. Just wanted to give a brief intro before going right into the podcast. This was an episode that Tim and I recorded in Sandy, Utah at Jeremy Horn's Elite Performance MMA. We recorded this while a sheepdog course was going on the mats right next to us. So the sound's going to be a little bit different. It's a great show. Jeremy Horn joined us, as did Trevor Prangley, who a lot of you know who that is, two icons in the world of mixed martial arts. Great stuff. Hope you can bear with the sound differences. I think it actually makes the podcast to be a little bit more interesting. So without further ado, here we go.
It is the best mission ever.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sheepdog Project. You jumped in mid-conversation, so we're talking about the UFC fight last night.
In the air and hits, we're not, mine's blowing up, and hits an armbar from the suplex in the air before he lands.
He suplexes him and just drops him out of the suplex into the armbar.
Boom!
It was sick.
Wow. Just cancel the sport. It's done.
He's done it all. He's been to the moon before.
Exactly, yeah.
So we're talking about Demetrius Johnson, his amazing win last night. So no question that he is the greatest of all time at this point, and did so in just an absolute amazing fashion. So Doc here on the podcast as always. There's Tim over there. So I'm going to go around the room. I've got a really scary looking dude by the name of Trevor Prangley right there, who a lot of you remember. So Jeremy Horn right there. So if you look who I'm surrounded with, if this were my first night in prison, this would be pretty scary right now.
So, we're obviously we're in the middle of a Sheepdog Response civilian level 1 course. We just finished a 2-day military law enforcement only course, and we have two of my favorite fighters ever to step into the octagon. Two guys that kind of predated the sport, that were so talented that even at the time nobody understood how good they were. Their records speak for themselves, as do their accolades and their belts, and but more importantly, in my opinion, is kind of how they've evolved, not only as fighters, which I really don't care as much, but as people and as martial artists. Every martial art, in my opinion, going back to the very beginning, has always tried to implement whatever weapon, the best weapon they could get their hand on. So if you're an impoverished nation with a dictator and you're trying to overthrow them, you're using nunchucks and sickles and knives, because that's all you had. But if you flip the side, and you're the Chinese dynasty, you were using rifles and cannons and arrows, and even to a degree chemical weapons, but you're integrating them into that form of, as a combatant in training. And I don't know what happened since the late 1800s, but it seemed like we almost froze in martial arts, where guys stopped using the best weapons. We now have an incredibly efficient tool, the gun, and both Trevor and Jeremy are incredibly proficient at its use, and they've evolved as martial artists to not only be fighters and intelligent fighters and instructors, they're also incredibly lethal, which is something I really like. And we'll talk to them. I'm going to bounce in and out through this whole entire podcast. Mike's going to be primary, as he always is, and but we'll dive into Jeremy and Trevor's kind of perspective and evolution of martial arts, and as people and as humans and patriots, a lot of the characteristics that I love about Americans, both of them share, even though one of them was South African, but he's American now, through and through, a barrel-chested freedom fighter, loves hunting.
Well, he's a voluntary American.
Yeah.
So he's more American than a lot of people.
Yeah, wait.
It allows me to appreciate what America is really about.
Absolutely.
It's something that seems like most Americans have forgotten.
Well, I think a lot of people who are born into it don't appreciate
So
it.
does this mean we're okay with immigrants? Yeah, it does.
If they, what's the word? Assimilate.
Assimilate. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the word.
Yeah.
That's the word. Wait,
Yeah.
so
And why wouldn't you?
because we have a great country. As long as you try to help it and not change it and damage it and destroy it and murder it and fly whatever flag or cover your face and go do a bunch of stupid stuff.
Do everything that screwed up the country
yeah.
that you fled.
Yeah.
Basically.
I've never flown the South African flag in my house. Not that I'm embarrassed about it. I love my country, but this country is just the opportunity, and then the concept that it was established on is not understood around the world. There's a very, even me growing up, we were anti-American. You just drilled through everybody, oh, America's this. But you come here, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I don't agree with the government and so forth, but as far as the precepts this country was set up as, is truly amazing. I mean, what an experiment in freedom for the human race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only successful one, and the one that's worth fighting for, I believe. So.
Oh man, goosebumps.
Yeah, totally.
Goosebumps.
Chills.
Jeremy's also an American.
I am.
Yeah. You have a gun on you right now?
I don't. I actually, I was just putting my laundry away, so.
We're in Jeremy Horn's gym right now. Elite
Performance.
Elite Performance in Salt Lake City, Utah.
That's what it looks like.
Massive mats, weights, bumper plates, squat rack, everything that you need. Olympic rings, heavy bags, knee bags, uppercut bags, foam rollers, my favorite, kettlebells. It's everything that you need to help develop as a warrior. You know, you need the mats, you need the bags. Those help you develop in fighting. But the body is the chassis that we do everything with. Uh-oh. Blake Hayes, partner in the back yelling. All right, here we go. Guy's cranky. All right, I'm going to go help. I'll be right back.
He's had coffee. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
All right. So going around, since we're talking about your gym, Jeremy, let's start with you. So what attracted you first? Were you attracted to martial arts first? Did you learn how to shoot first at a young age, or were they simultaneous?
They were actually pretty closely overlapping. I started doing martial arts when I was 12. My older brother did it, and you know, what little brother doesn't want to copy his big brother? So I just kind of followed that and fell in love with it. And you know, I never really thought about it until a few years ago, but I actually trained from the time I started when I was 12 until I was about 22. I trained every day, 7 days a week. I did not miss a day.
Wow.
As a little kid, I didn't really have any other requirements, so I was able to go to the gym every single day. And I think as part of that group, I also was kind of brought in under the idea and the mentality that martial arts is not just like karate on the weekends. It's a lifestyle and it's a survival mentality. So the guys that I trained with back then were also avid shooters and hunters and outdoor survivalists. And so right as I'm learning how to throw punches and kicks, part of it was learning how to shoot. So just kind of fell in love with it.
So the cultivation of the all-around warrior, which is, as Tim said, that was the genesis of martial arts, and a lot of it got lost. And I grew up. I'm older than all you guys. Trevor, you're the closest to my age, but I remember growing up, and karate had become this McDojo thing in a lot of places where it wasn't that. And if you went in, and 9 times out of 10 you went in and asked the instructor there, it would be, no, this is my path. My path is without weapons. And it was this weird. They had kind of bastardized and twisted the original philosophy. And because of that, I think they'd lost a lot.
Yeah. That's kind of the way the direction martial arts in general took. Like Tim was saying early on, it was a way of fighting for your life and your survival. So there really wasn't, taekwondo throws kicks and boxing throws punches. It was do what you got to do to win the fight, and if that means pick up a stick and hit somebody with it, then do it and learn how to do it well. And then as people got more civilized, they kind of started splintering off, and people started training really only the things that they like to do. So. Fighting.
Easy things.
Yeah. The guys that could kick well became taekwondo. The guys that like to squeeze people became wrestling, and they all kind of splintered off. But at the end of the day,
yeah, you have to force yourself to train your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah, somehow we pretended that there's no danger in the world and that martial arts doesn't have to be effective anymore. It's just the weirdest thing, what I mean? When we became civilized and became a first world country, all danger went out the window. So martial arts was something you did in the mirror, or something you did so you could post it on Facebook or something like that, which is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. You see that image that had like the cycle of like hard times make hard men.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And it goes all the way through that easy times make weak men, and then weak men make hard times, then boom, we're right back.
Yeah.
Like it seems like in the past decade, we've had really easy times, and we then made a generation of very weak, easy men. And people forgot what it was like to carve their existence out of the forest.
We should really look at the word men before we start using it with this.
That's the one. There's only 2 genders, and one of them is men.
Yeah.
And what a man is one that can do work, someone that can move, that can that can have calloused hands and
offer
go to bed
protection,
tired.
right?
They can love their spouse, and they can lift heavy things, and these are all great things. Not all men are going to be the same, and nor do they have to be.
No.
But that's has been an element that's missing for this generation, and we've made some hard times.
When it became uncool to open a door for a lady, to pull out a chair for a lady. If a man's not going to open a door for you or pull out a chair for you, is he going to put himself between you and attack? You've already sent that message to him.
You've just
culturally
emasculated
totally
the man.
Yeah, and as much as equality is an important thing, and equality of opportunity especially is something that I think is extremely important. We do have to recognize the differences, and that the genders are engineered
Beautifully.
through
Beautifully different.
When I use the term engineered, it's we could have this debate all day whether random chance and a couple of pieces of protein that collided in a pond started this, or if it was engineered. It works the way it works, and it worked that way for millions of years because it works that way. And then in a short span of time, we've tried to completely re-engineer that.
And it's not like if you look at our respective others, we have some badass women that we're with, that are fighters, that are extremely educated, that are financially independent. There's no bit of if you're going to find 4 feminists in the room, you could almost look in this corner, because we really believe in equality and empowering them to be themselves. And beautifully, my wife, your wife, I don't know your girlfriend well enough, but she's an incredible athlete and an amazing woman. The things that I do know about her are a testament to that kind of same characteristic. They're capable on their own, but they're also beautiful women. They embody that. My wife loves putting on hills, but she'll also put on running shoes and run 26.2 miles, and then go run the 5 companies that we own. This is what's up, girl.
And none of them, through action or inaction, have ever emasculated any of us.
No.
So in the back, we have Blake Hayes. He's a black belt jiu-jitsu. We have John right now showing, he's a combatives instructor for the Army. And Travis Joyner's hiding over in the corner. And Brian Peller, another one of our firearms instructors, is hiding out in the front room. And Jeremy hosted this gym. Trevor is here showing how to tear people's arms off, make soup out of face, and patiently try to prevent people from killing each other on the range, accidentally or intentionally. This is.
I had to prevent myself from intentionally killing some people on the range yesterday, to be honest with you. Pretty diverse group of people here. We have some talented shooters. We have some talented athletes. But none of them have ever put all of the pieces together like I think Jeremy and Trevor have, where they can fight, they can shoot, they can be strong, they can be leaders. And why is that missing? Why is this us, the anomaly, when this should be the standard?
People get lazy, and I think people just, they want to lay around and have everything done for them. And eventually that leads to people making choices for you, and then that leads to people dictating what your choices are. I mean, I don't want to mow my lawn. I'd rather have somebody else mow it for me. But then that leads to him saying, well, I'm going to mow it on Sunday. Well, now I'm only going to mow it once a month. Then before long, the lawn's not mine anymore. And I'm being told what to do. So you got to be willing to do the things for yourself that maybe you don't want to do.
It sounds like individual responsibility.
Internal locus of control, quite the concept.
That's very taboo.
That's not allowed anymore.
No.
Right. Individual responsibility.
It's frowned upon, which is the scary thing.
Well, the thing is, you can have responsibility, or you can have responsibility and choice. But if you give up their responsibility, then you also have to give up the choice. Because if you're giving yourself over to somebody else doing it, well, then you don't get a say. And that is said with everything. The people that want government to run everything. Okay, you want government to pay for your health care. You want taxpayers to pay for your health care. Well, then we should be able to dictate your diet and how much you exercise and all this other stuff. And I'm not just saying that in theory. This is things that have already been talked about. They've been talking about, oh, you're a smoker. We can test you for that. And if you're a smoker and you have lung problems, we're going to penalize you for that. And I mean, that's the way it goes. They say that government has never, in the history of the U.S. government, they've never subsidized anything that they haven't later decided, oh, we've been subsidizing this for a while. We don't like the way you're using our money, so now we're just going to go ahead and control it. It always happens.
Have to regulate it.
Yeah.
Far-reaching. When it comes down to freedoms, I have loved the idea, and I'm a proponent, kind of as a libertarian, that every freedom should exist with individual responsibility as long as it doesn't affect anyone else. So like I can be as free to do whatever I want. I can ride my motorcycle without a helmet. I can smoke a cigarette or a joint in my home, neither of which obviously I do, but it's my choice to, as long as it doesn't affect somebody else. But if you are paying for my health care, or a group of people, or the people that actually pay taxes are paying for health care, and you're just sitting in your home smoking cigarettes, now we have a different issue, because now you're affecting my income and what I can do with my money and my freedoms and my financial freedom. A cool evolution has kind of occurred within martial arts, where some of the most prestigious instructors on the planet, John Hackleman, Chuck Liddell's famous coach from the Pit, that has raised numerous fighters to include Claudio Teixeira, Antonio Banuelos, Jason Von Flew, myself. That was one of my first MMA gyms, and then going from him to Greg Jackson. At Greg Jackson, he spends an equal time teaching guys how to fight as he does helping law enforcement and military learn how to shoot. Going to Dave Camarillo, your coach, and Bob Cook. These are guys that love shooting, that love freedom, that love fighting, that love martial arts, and they have begun integrating this, not the plastic version of it, but the real version, into their, I don't want to say combative system or their defender system, or it's just martial arts, into the martial arts. Like, why do you think, one, it's taken so long, and why do you think that these guys are now doing it?
Well, I think as we were talking about the last few decades, we had this comfort zone in America where even the people like us who are libertarian, we're sitting back a little bit too long, you know what I mean? We're just content and complacent because life was easy. But we've come to the point now, it's a tipping point where the country's either going to go one way or the other. And I think it's woken people up a little bit, you know what I mean? It's pretty sad that even as men sometimes we don't engage in action because it's not absolutely necessary at that point. But if you don't engage right now, it's like mowing your lawn. If you don't mow it every week, if you leave it for a month, it's a pain in the ass because it's 2 feet long. You know what I mean? So it's a struggle, it's a fight to change it. And I think that's partially what happened. Everybody was content, life was good. You know what I mean? Nobody thought that this great country could... 20 years ago, nobody would have pictured it where it's at now. When I came here 20 years, I certainly didn't. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, I mean, euphoria. Now I'm like, holy crap. You know what I mean? This is just going to get taken away from my kids. My kids are never going to be able to experience the freedoms and the joys that I did. You know what I mean? So I think people are waking up, and unfortunately, we should have woke up and been vigilant this whole time, I feel. You know? And I'm not excluding myself from that group of people that should have been that way.
That's true. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
For sure.
And because we didn't invest in the prevention in everything, I mean, we're talking about, the state of health in America, the state of the economy in America, the state of our healthcare system, the number of people that are on disability and on welfare. We didn't invest in that early on. You talk about the number of people that are on antidepressants.
Yeah.
And
terrible.
And we've talked multiple times this week. We talked about the disintegration of the nuclear family and the huge toll that has taken. And it doesn't take a village to raise a child.
No.
You and me, we don't have time to go raise somebody else's kids. And now they put in a position where we have to in the form of incarcerating.
Yeah.
Basically.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It comes back down to responsibility for your actions. You know what I mean? That they systematically removed it from the schools.
Yeah.
Where kids didn't have to respect the teachers anymore. Where, I mean, I look at my kids that go to school, if they don't finish an assignment on time, you can make it up. I'm like, no, That's not how it works.
Yeah.
If you don't finish your assignment, you should get an F for it.
Right.
Agreed?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Hold these kids to a higher standard. Why are we making it so easy for them? Hold them to a higher standard. I mean, schools, you should respect your teachers. You should respect authority. You should respect authority, obviously up to a certain moral standard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas if the authority is overstepping that moral standard, you have to step back and make a stand. But if you get told to do your work or whatever it is that you have to do, and you decide you don't want to do it because you want to play video games, and then they let you make it up, it makes me want to be sick, really. Because what is that teaching that child as he goes into the rest of his life? That, oh, fuck it, you know what I mean? I don't feel like doing it today. I don't feel like working for my family today, so I'll sit on the couch. Maybe I'll get a job tomorrow. Your kids are starving and they're running around in dirty diapers, whatever, you know what I mean? Get off your ass, do your job. You know what I mean?
And the fallout from that, it's funny you said that because it was, I think just last night, I saw a link on Facebook, one of these clickbait links. I didn't click on it, but basically what it said is college students go on strike, demand take-home test.
Yeah, they didn't want to do their midterm.
They didn't want to do midterm. They demanded to be a take-home test. It's like, you can't do that. That's not, I mean, that would be completely unheard of.
I mean, the state of our medicine, the state of everything in this country will deteriorate if scholars aren't held to a higher standard. It doesn't mean everybody has to go and be a genius at school. There's different things for everybody. You know what I mean? Not everybody's going to be a fighter. Not everybody's going to be a lawyer. But you should be held to the standard of what you choose to be, the highest standard you can be, I think. You know what I mean? You're given this. If you're going to put the time in to do something, do it well.
Yeah.
Don't just cruise through it and watch the clock and, hey, I got to get home.
No matter what line of work you're in, I don't care what you're going to go into, you're going to be held to a timeline. Okay, if I'm a factory worker, I'm held to a timeline. My dad was an aircraft planner; he's held to a timeline. Tim and I, we couldn't say on the day the plane was due to leave to take us to Afghanistan, hey, I'm sorry, I need a do-over.
Next flight.
You know, can I get a take-home to get ready for this? Would have been nice. We didn't have that though. Even artists. Michelangelo was held to a time standard when he painted the Sistine Chapel. He didn't meet that time standard, okay, but he was held to one.
For sure.
So you have. What's that?
The touch of God.
It is pretty amazing. It's.
I was hoping you'd touch my finger.
Oh, sorry.
Now, who's God?
Yeah. Well, who? Let's see. Up, down, here. Now I am. The Agony and the Ecstasy is a pretty amazing film. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
What is that film?
The Agony and the Ecstasy. So Charlton Heston plays Michelangelo, and Rex Harrison plays the Pope.
Your wife is.
It's a really good movie. It's really
I'll check that out.
Nice.
Your wife likes it every time that you come in the screen.
Does she?
Yeah.
She's trying to tell you something, Tim.
Well, Chris Perkins, we wish you were here, but we're excited that you're going to be running the course in Oklahoma.
When I first came on board with Sheepdog, I thought Tim was very much an outlier. That the full spectrum warrior. I'm not just an MMA fighter. I'm all forms of weaponry and everything else. But more and more that I've been involved with this company, and we go places, and I meet guys like you, and I see that a lot of guys who've had very successful MMA careers are now branching out. And my first instinct was, is this a matter of, I can see and I know a lot of fighters get asked, hey, I want to, you're a big tough guy, I've seen you guys beat up guys in the cage, I want to hire you as a bodyguard, and maybe they branched out into firearms for that reason, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's more of a mindset thing, that just the type of person who is willing to put themselves to the hazard for all those years and rise to the pinnacle of martial arts. Sees where the holes in that are, sees where there are times, because we live in a dangerous world where a rear naked choke is not going to solve everything unless maybe you're Rickson Gracie. But even Rickson Gracie, he packs heat.
Yeah.
I heard.
Hoist loves it.
I've shot with Hoist. I've shot with Hoist, and he's damn good.
Yeah. They're coming around.
Yeah.
So I have a question though. Why is it so the martial art community and even now the fitness community, like CrossFitters, love shooting?
Yeah.
Which is awesome, fantastic. Why isn't it going the other way? So when I go to 3-gun competitions and if it's like IDPA stuff, I see a lot of fat, soft bodies that are afraid to come into the gym and do work.
And you know what
really pisses me off about those people
What pisses you off?
is that perpetuates the stereotype that comes from the anti-gun crowd that they all carry guns because number one, it's a penis extender. Number two, they couldn't do anything in a fight,
My
so
penis is
so
the
they
same
have to have a
size,
gun.
regardless if I have a gun.
But the fat guy leaning up against that blue barrel, wheezing at the range, okay, that has two extenders on his pistol belt. I hate that guy. He perpetuates that stereotype.
Well, I think we can go back to how martial arts was 20 years ago. And I think that martial arts has caught up to a certain degree because they believed 20 years ago, traditional weapons, if I'm good with my hands, I can beat anybody type thing. And this is the same mindset I think these gun guys have. If I carry heat, nobody's going to touch me, so I don't have to be in shape. Just like the martial artists, I don't have to carry heat because my hands are lethal weapons. You know what I mean? They watch the fucking Enter the Dragon and realize, and so I think that as the martial arts is evolving, hopefully the gun guys will start to see, and the more of them we can get to a course like this and see how ineffective a draw and shoot can be in a closed room situation.
Yeah, a fight's a fight.
It's a fight.
It doesn't matter if there's a gun, if there's a knife. You've got to be good at it.
I think the guns have given them a false sense of security.
I
believe.
agree.
Just like the martial arts gave our kung fu fighters and karate guys 40 years ago had a false sense of security until the UFC came along. And they realized how ineffective it was. And then some of our UFC guys started shooting and realized how ineffective that is in it. So, you know what I mean? So I think that's the problem. I think both sides had a false sense of security, and certain martial artists have broken that stereotype and realized that MMA is not fighting for your life. MMA is a sport. At its heart, it's the most effective sport for fighting, I believe, but it's a sport. You know what I mean? It's not going to... So that's... What do you think, Jeremy?
I agree. Like you said, I think there's some element of people that, they get a lot of self-confidence from carrying a gun. You guys have all seen them. You walk into Walmart and there's a fat guy with an outside the waistband holster with a sparkling new Glock in it that he's never shot, he's never trained with, he's never done anything with, but he's got it and he wants everybody to see it.
But every one of us sitting right here could take that gun from him and not even shoot him, beat him to death with it effortlessly. Jeremy, you wouldn't even break a sweat. You could strangle him unconscious. You could take that gun and put it into any orifice of his body that you wanted, and because it's just a fight.
Yeah.
It has given him a complete false sense of security, and he hasn't been training in any of the skills that enable him to be able to survive.
Well, and what were you guys talking about earlier? The guys who were good at kicks only wanted to train kicks. The guys who were good at chokes only wanted to train chokes. That same guy that we're talking about with the outside the waistband holster in Walmart, he goes to the range and he practices at the distance that he knows he's comfortable with in a configuration, probably not going from concealed draw. He's not practicing malfunctions. He's not practicing tac-mad reloads and reloads under pressure. He's not shooting and moving. So he's in this deranged comfort zone. And, before we went live and we were doing the drill with, when somebody goes for your gun, what to do, I'd be interested how many of those guys would come in here and just in that 10 minutes would have that dawning realization that this gun is not going to do anything for me in Walmart if anybody legitimately wants to take it away from me.
And to come back to that, you know what I mean, I think our society has bred mediocrity. We own gyms. How many guys have you come in here who just want to get their blue belt and then you never see them again? And they're happy with that. That's a great accomplishment to them because
15 years from now, they go, I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
They've reached mediocrity. You know what I mean? And our kids at school, they don't reward hard work and stuff like they used to. It's like, because you might offend, you might offend somebody if your scores are too good. It's like football. When your kids are beating the other team, sometimes they want you to back off so the other kids don't feel bad.
Yeah.
But that breeds mediocrity. You know what I mean? And I think that excelling in something has become a rarity. I'm a decent shooter, but I want to get better and better. I feel if I wouldn't teach anybody to shoot because I feel I would be defrauding them because I'm not at that level that I see you guys at. You know what I mean? It's still relatively, I'm an infant in my shooting, but I shoot better than a lot of people in the society.
Right.
But I wouldn't put on a shooting class, and I see some of these guys do that stuff, and blue belts open jiu-jitsu gyms, and I'm like, dude, where is your honor and where is your respect for these people you're supposed to be teaching?
You $30,000 capital
Yeah.
decides he can open up his own
Well,
gym.
you're defrauding these people, really, and it's disgusting. And it happens not only in martial arts, but in all aspects now, because mediocrity has become okay. It's become okay, and it's where people are comfortable. Somebody will go to a gym where there's not that tough a competition because they feel good about themselves, instead of coming to a gym like mine or Jeremy's, where we've got a solid team, and they come in and the pride is just smashed. Even although then we're not trying to do that, but it's their I think their own self-image that is hamstringing them. You know what I mean? It's like,
So you use the word pride, and that's perfect, because when you were talking about that, guys who just want their blue belt, just want their purple belt, just want these symbols. Okay, and everybody gets a trophy mentality. And you said pride, and that reminded me of Jeremy's pride trophies. And I was very surprised to see. I'm walking around, looking around the gym.
I'm jealous of those, by the way.
And tucked behind a metallic bonsai tree that you could completely miss them are 2 pride trophies.
Yeah, I didn't miss them.
It's like if that were me, that I would not only have them on my mantle, but I'd have lights from every angle.
Yeah. Well, my wife always gets mad at me because I have 4 decent titles. You know what I mean? Not the amateur stuff, and the belts are stuffed under my bed in a box. She's like,
Dude, mine are the same thing. Mine are in a bucket behind the counter up there. I don't care about recognition. The only thing the belt means to me is it's a nice memory of the fight, which I'm
for
proud
sure.
of.
Yeah.
I don't care about the belt. I don't care about, the only reason those trophies are on the counter is people said, hey man, you run a gym, it probably could be good for marketing.
Yeah, that's what
Put
my
those
wife
out where people
says.
can see them.
Yeah.
I don't care about them.
For me, when it comes to anything that I'm doing, and I get, again, like you were talking about, I'm 100% sure I'm above average for shooters. I'm probably above average for martial arts, even though I'm a complete infant in martial arts, in my opinion. And I get accolades, from family members, from friends, from people that don't do that aren't in that world. To me, the only accolades that I care about is that I respect myself. I know I did everything that I could, and I tried to better myself, and the accolades of the people that I train with. I would rather go to a jiu-jitsu tournament and just get my ass handed to me and have the respect of my opponent because of the thought that I put up, and walk away with nothing than beat somebody that was easy on points and get the gold medal.
I just read an article the other day where that's kind of becoming a big thing, where like some of the big IBJJF tournaments, they run every weight class, every division. There are people that will wait till the last minute to sign up so that they can find an empty division and get a gold medal. Even if it's a 150-pound guy that enters, the expert over 400 black belt lefty division, because he knows there's nobody there, he gets a gold medal. That's ridiculous.
I know people like that. I know people who went down there. There was 2 in the weight class. They pulled out of the match and got a silver, and it's on their wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would rather, like you said, I'd rather go in there and get my ass kicked and be proud of the fact that I did my best and fought well, than go in there and get an easy win, or no win at all and get a medal for it.
I think we can all agree that those belts and those medals aren't the end game.
No.
Those are just maybe a little show of appreciation.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way.
You know what I mean? A show of appreciation for what you've accomplished, but that's just something I'm going to step on to get to that next level. Because the minute you become satisfied, you become complacent, and then
you should fall in love with the process, not the accolades.
For sure.
You should love the pain. You should love the sweat and the calloused hands. You should love. I love rolling with you. You're 40, 30 pounds bigger than I am. Stronger in every single way, and I'm learning positions and you're doing things that I haven't done. And even with flow rolling, I'm like, oh man, hitting that Kimura from this position, I've never even seen that, and you're able to get that reversal. Awesome.
Yeah.
And so I'm in love with the process, even when I'm not winning, even when I'm not getting a medal.
It's uncomfortable for you, but it was uncomfortable for me to roll with you too. You know what I mean? And that's, I like that, because you get comfortable with guys you can beat up all the time. And I wouldn't quite say beat up, because that's kind of a disrespectful term, but guys that you're better than, you know what I mean? And you become, I'm going to roll this guy again. But then when you roll with someone you get that little nervy feeling back, and that little bit of excitement back in my life, you know what I mean? It's like, maybe I should go do another tournament, or maybe I should do this, and, just go to that next level.
And that's that the
something.
competitor's edge, that desire, that like when you go and shoot yesterday, when you're shooting against another really, really good shooter, like your heart was beating
absolutely.
again. Like when you're competing
Absolutely.
again. And you have to have that thing. And you have to have that, I don't know, I can't even tell you what it is if you don't have it, but it's like a hook or a string that's like in your chest, and it's like dragging you towards this desire to be better, this desire not to fail, this desire to win, but this desire to get better, and and it's all these things kind of happening at the same time that compel you to be a better version of yourself. It's that refiner's fire. It's the chaff in the wind. Like you're throwing that up, and the good stuff's blowing away, or the bad stuff's blowing away, and the good stuff's coming back down. And I think we've lost that.
Absolutely.
Well, like you said, it's easy to fall in love with things that make you feel good and things that are comfortable. Like you said, not beating people up, but rolling with people that are maybe not as experienced as you, and you get a win, and it's easy and comfortable, and you lose sight of, or you lose that feeling of that nervous excitement of, I might not, this is not going to be fun. I'm going to have to work hard. This guy's a challenge, or the competition is a challenge, or whatever, and that's...
Yeah, that possibility of getting beat, I think, is what makes it exciting. I could actually lose this match.
Yeah.
Or I'm probably going to lose this match.
That in itself is something that you can fall in love with, but it's also, because it's tough, it's easy to slip away from that and make excuses and be like, I can't train today, I can't do this, I can't do that. I've been falling victim to that myself a lot lately. I come into the gym and I teach every day, and I'm like, I've been here for 5 hours. I'll teach, but I don't really feel like rolling today. But as soon as I do, one of the guys will drag me onto the mat. I'm glad I did, But if I had my own way, I'd probably be like, I'll roll tomorrow, and that just perpetuates.
Kind of like our evening workout at the house last night.
Yeah.
None of us wanted to do.
Oh. No.
We did it anyway, and it was painful. When you talk about that feeling, of being threatened and how it changes you. Every species on the earth has only evolved because out of the necessity for survival. My survival is threatened, so I have to evolve. I have to get better. My legs have to get longer.
Yeah, if I don't, I'm
giraffe, dead. My neck has to get longer so I can eat from a different part of the tree. And it's the same as individuals, too. You only evolve as a martial artist, as a shooter, in whatever it is, if you feel threatened. And you have to expose yourself to that, in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah. If you don't, then you're living life like this. You're flatlining, and you're not going to evolve.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, what?
That's my argument against the living
people
wage.
ask me what made you like you are. You know what I mean? And I think a big problem in our society right now is the father has been taken out of the equation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know Tim's dad only from Facebook and from what he's told me, but it sounds like he was pretty hard on him and drove him, taught him, mediocrity is not okay. Just like my dad was. You know what I mean? I didn't particularly like my dad all the time when I was a kid, but if I look back now, I'm so grateful for what he put me through.
My dad was not my best buddy,
No.
because he was a great dad.
But he's your dad.
Yeah.
Him, my dad, and he always taught me, his big thing was, it's your fault, you take responsibility for it. You're not going to blame anybody for anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've been able to carry that through my life, try to instill it in my kids. It's harder to do now, but if more fathers would step up to the plate and not let their kids grow up while they're watching sport or whatever, and teach them personal responsibility. Teach them that being uncomfortable is okay. Mm-hmm. Being uncomfortable is good. You know what I mean? It's a constant battle with my wife because I want my kids to be uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah.
And being the nurturing mother, she wants them to be comfortable. Which is good. You know what I mean? It teaches kids values from both what each one should be.
We want our kids to be safe.
But
they have to know what that exposure feels like.
I'm
And
telling
they're not
you.
going to grow without struggle. I mean, I love my kids, and I think one of the things that I fight with Mom about is they always want, and I love it, and God bless them for it, that they always want their little babies to be sweet and safe and protected. But like a muscle, without stress, without struggle, without pain, there's no growth. It's just how it is.
For sure.
And it's the same way with the development of a fighter, and it's the same with the development of a soldier. And that's why I get in fights with people all the time about the difficulty of training, especially within special operations. But when we see soldiers that die in training, they're like, this should never happen. Man, you're getting these kids ready for war. Like, they can't get ready without struggle, without pain, without sacrifice.
Yeah, nobody's saying it's okay for that to happen.
No, it's
but
horrible.
Yeah.
But it's necessary. You know,
Because you
it's a
have
horrible
to,
thing.
you have to always be pushed to that line. When it comes to military training, you have to always be pushed up until that point. And bad things happen, and we make corrections based on it. And leading up to the global war on terror, there were times when some of the branches of service had a lot of deaths, and they overreacted. Like, you know, oh, we're going to completely change. We're not going to train at night anymore, or we're going to do this. And then when we went into the global war on terror, the guys who had been assuming risk during training, you know, I don't know how many guys. Actually, I do know how many guys in the Ranger Battalion we lost to training accidents when I was there, and it was 3. In SF, we were losing guys. You know, whether it was parachuting, maritime ops, diving, whatever it was, we were losing people in training. Live fire ranges. I know a guy that lost an eye on a live fire range and continued to serve. And guess what? We were the most successful in the global war on terror because we'd been training dangerously and assuming that risk, you know, mitigating it as much as possible, but assuming that risk. And it's the same when you train. You know, the guys who are too worried about getting hurt, the guys are like, oh, you know, I got Kimura really hard last night. You're not going to see me for 3 weeks. I got to get completely healed up. You know, you got to know the difference between pain and injury. You know, I've got an ulnar ligament sprain right now from an arm bar, and I'm continuing to train. But you know, like when I was with you the other night, as soon as you grabbed that arm, I tapped.
Yep.
You know, but I'm not training because of it.
Well, here's what I found in my career. When I had an injury, I always worked through them. You know what I mean? That's just the way I was taught as a kid. You know what I mean? Nothing could get in your way. But that's when my game evolved and grew the most. Is when I had to abandon everything I knew and was comfortable with. And okay, my shoulders hurt. So now I'm going to have to protect the shoulder and still win this match. And when you grapple like that and force yourself into uncomfortable situations or situations you wouldn't normally be in, I think that's where you grow the most that's where I grew the most as a fighter, is all the injuries I had. You know, where you had to just abandon your best game, your best approach to the match. I mean, obviously within reason. Don't go out there and maim yourself.
Yeah. Well, that's what Ronda Rousey said after she had her knee surgery.
Yeah.
And it limited what she could train. That vastly improved her.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It improves you because you're forced to totally abandon your best moves. You know what I mean?
When we talk about the guys who are like afraid of that adversity, so John Ramsey, who I train with in Austin at his gym, he told me once that when people come in and sign up initially, very, very often he can size somebody up as this is somebody I'm going to see for 2 weeks, and then they're going to go out that door. You know, do you find that to be true as well?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you can kind of tell by people's demeanor, you know, how much they've done possibly, and what they're willing to go through. And sometimes you're wrong, but for the most part, yeah, you can.
Yeah. And does it usually start with, like, you know, they've had some rough training, and then there's a text message or a phone call like, hey, I'm going to be really busy for the next few weeks, but I'm planning on coming back, but then you kind of just don't ever see him again?
Yeah. Every now and then they just never show up, stop returning calls, just disappear.
Yeah.
You know. But honestly, what I run into is, I don't know if you guys run into the same thing, but a lot of times the guys that fit that bill are the ones that come in, big chest puffed up, and, hey, I want to be a fighter. Then they get on the mat and they're like, "Oh, this is really hard. I had no idea this was this tough." Yeah,
comes back to the pride not being able to handle it. Right?
I get a lot of guys that come in and they're like, "I've never done anything. I don't know anything, but I kind of like it. I'm a fan. I want to give it a try." Those are the guys that stick in there and, you know.
God, it's the same with shooting, though.
It's totally the same with shooting.
The guy comes out with all the great things, and, you know, like he learned to shoot in all the wrong ways, but he knows everything because he has an ego. Yep. And you're like, hey, man, your draw stroke's off. You're not picking up your front side pitcher, or you're not your front side post soon enough. Your side pitcher's like all those little things, and then they're like arguing with you. You're like,
right.
No, homie, these are not things that we can dispute about. These are just factual truths about like how shooting fundamentals work. And it's like pulling teeth to change them. And that dude walking in with the barrel chest and all the nice shaved arms, and be vascular, and you're like,
you're not going to be here long.
No.
And like I said, every once in a while you're wrong.
Yeah.
I have had a couple of guys that come in here, and the guys are like, you know, right out of college wrestler, just freak, and you smash him, and he's like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I've been looking for this. I like this. I'm in. You know, but Yeah, it really, a lot of times it just boils down to the ego.
Yep.
Hey guys on the live stream, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off now. We're going to be going for about another 15 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and sign off to you guys. Thank you, Robert Johnson, for confirming that the audio is good. Very much appreciated. We're going to keep going here. You guys, this should be uploaded as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. Love you, Denise. All right.
Deep Thoughts with Podcast. These guys need a water break or a pee break. We'll be right back. Okay.
So, that's one of the things that I've noticed that in this class, that the two females in this class have been like the easiest trained. They've come in with that total empty vessel mentality. And the first time that I went out and shot with Tim and Shane, and I was rusty, and Shane right away noticed stuff that I was doing wrong, and he came over and he goes, "Hey man, if you don't mind a little advice," and probably 75% of the guys that have the background that I have, they're like, "I'm a fucking SF soldier with 25 years. Who are you to tell me what I need to be doing?" Everything Shane told me was right on the money, and I did. I followed all the advice that he gave me, and I was so glad that I did, because right away it improved what I was doing. Mm-hmm. So you just can't be afraid of that. Ego, there's a difference. You talk about pride, and there's a huge difference between pride and ego. Like the difference between confidence and cockiness.
Yeah, there is.
Confidence is, I feel pretty well armed to take care of this because I trained for it.
Yeah, but you're still willing to learn.
Still willing to learn. Yeah, still willing to learn. And you have to be. You're in everything, you learn or you die.
Yeah, ego's a hamstringer. It holds you right where you're at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you believe you know everything.
And the moment you think you know everything, somebody's going to come along and show you absolutely that you do not. Yeah. Yep. What advice do you guys give to people who they're on their martial arts journey and they figure that they feel like they've kind of plateaued, that they've got to a point, it's like, I can submit all the people that I've been able to submit for a while, but I want to get to that next level where maybe I'm chaining moves together, or I'm more comfortable with this or that. What advice do you, other than obviously the fundamentals of drilling and training more, and what do you think the secret to the mindset is? What's the secret sauce there?
A lot of times I tell guys to take a break and focus on something else.
Really?
Guys are working on a particular series of sweeps or a particular position. Be like, okay, so you're plateauing trying to sweep people from your guard. We'll go box for a month. Just forget about it. Your brain will kind of reset, just like on the range. When we're shooting, and he's like, okay, go take a break. Well, you need some time to decompress and stop just beating your head against the wall over this one thing. You need to focus on something else for a little while. That's what's nice about MMA. There's so many different facets you can train. You want to go kick, go get stronger, go punch, go work on takedowns, go work on sprawling. There's so many different things that are a huge area that you could dedicate effort to. So then when you come back to it, you get kind of a fresh perspective, and maybe you'll get over that plateau.
Yeah. What do you guys tell people about? And this is something that Tim and I talk about quite a bit, about how to spot. Like, say you have somebody who trains at your gym very, very, very briefly, so not for a period of time that they're going to have the tools to recognize this, or maybe a family member who lives somewhere else and say, "I'm looking for a place to train." What do you tell people about how to kind of spot charlatans, like a gym where you just absolutely should not train?
I think if you're getting duped by a charlatan right in this day and age, it's your own fault. There's so much. Find somebody with a resume that checks out. That's not. Don't pull the resume off of his website. But there's so much information out there, and my whole what blows me away is that you'll have a gym with somebody who's totally qualified to train you, but people won't train there. They'll train somewhere else, or they'll start their own little gym or something. It's just the weirdest thing to me, but I always felt like you should train with the best. If you train with the best, you're going to be the best you can. You may never beat that person, and you may never rise to their level, but that may not be your goal. We've got to understand that not everybody who comes into our gym is there to be a world champion, or is there to be a MMA fighter, or is there to be a IBJJF champion.
Right.
Some people just want to be there to be there. They feel that that's going to be something that's going to fill a hole they have in their life. and so on. And I mean, I think those are the people that are the easiest to learn and stuff. But you got to just check out where you're going, ask around. You know what I mean? Get on the internet. You can check his resume, you can check mine, and you can check Tim's. There's no doubting that we've been through the stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
in the information age, it's pretty easy to find out what's real and what's not. So yeah, that'd be the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's kind of hard to say because having done it for so long, to me it seems like common sense. Like, how could you ever believe that would work?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I don't know.
There's a segment of our audience that are interested in the sheepdog lifestyle, but they're kind of at this point they're on the outside looking in. We get multiple emails a week about people that cross that threshold. You know, hey, I found a gym, and we get multiple emails and multiple hits on social media of can you recognize a gym? And for even for me, it might, you know, it's I Google where they are, and I look up. Okay, there's a gym here. I go in, I look up. This is the black belt that's there. I look him up, and yeah, like you say, for me at my level, that's 15 minutes of work. But I mean, they're totally agreeing to it. You know?
there's definitely some flags that come up. You know what I mean? When you walk into a gym and this guy's telling you how great he is and that his style is the cure for any situation and stuff like that, that should send the biggest red flag. Okay.
So you're saying I should stop telling people how great I am?
Damn it. Also, when you walk into a gym and you say, "Hey, I'm looking at gyms," and the guy starts knocking all the other gyms. That's
a
big
business thing in general. Like if I have a tree trimmer that comes, it's like, oh well, Austin tree trimmers, man, those guys are shady. Let me tell you how bad they suck. They're not even arborists. You know, I'm like, oh man, you just, I don't know.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Apparently it is. But you couldn't be more right. That's like, it infuriates me. What are some other things that are like kind of signals of a problem within a gym?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would think that a lot of any of the typical bad business practices would also apply to a bad gym, because if somebody is truly a martial artist that wants to expand your life and make you a better person, they generally come from a pretty genuine place.
Yep.
Like I actually have to push myself to be a little more aggressive when I'm you know, being the businessman, because I'm like, look, we train. Come on in, try it out.
Yeah,
that's about all I'm going to say, you know. Yeah. Whereas I should be like, hey, you know, this is good for you and it'll help you and blah blah blah. And I should be a little more aggressive, but I'm not. The people that hit you with that car salesman attitude right away and try to get you to sign up within the first 20 minutes of the conversation.
It's one of the things I really like on it gym in Austin, Texas. They have incredible programming. Yes, they have great coaches. They have great equipment. So as a facility, it is a really amazing place. But then you walk into like the entrance greeting desk, you know, and they have like an appropriately well-dressed, professional, nice-talking person that, you know, and even though you go in the back and there's sweat and blood flying, you know, because it's a gym, it has a real clear feeling of a business, you know, and they value your business and they value what you're there for. And I struggle with that.
Yeah,
me too. I can't do it.
Yeah,
well, that's,
but I think it's extremely important to realize how intimidating it is to walk into a gym that would be owned by someone like you or Jeremy or myself. I mean, we forget because we've been in this lifestyle so long, but you can see when people walk in and stand at the front desk how uncomfortable they are just by the way they're standing and stuff. And I have to constantly remind myself, these are people who are, they want to be a part of the sport. They've probably been thinking about it for months. They finally summed up the courage to walk through that door.
They walk through the door and they see you.
Yeah.
You know.
When we get a new guy, I normally stand behind a pillar and my wife talks to them.
So, you know, that's why we ended up, and this is not a martial arts gym, but that's why we ended up with gym. What is it? What's the judgment-free zone? Planet Fitness. Yeah. And now they're like, if you're built like
Judging
you,
everybody.
they won't let you work there. They won't let you work out there.
Yeah.
You know, because they want it to be. It's basically become a gym safe space. And it does, and it's the same thing. I every time I've gone and trained at a new location, I get that feeling in the pit of my stomach.
Yeah.
Our first night here when we trained with your guys, I had that. I don't know who any of these guys are. I don't know what they're good at, what they're not good at. I don't know how I'm going to be judged. And my stomach, you know, knots up. You know, when I'm on the road and I train with that gym we trained at in Uruguay, or I go to Team Rock, where I had changed before, but I haven't trained there in 10 years. You walk in there, and it's like, I know everybody in here's looking at me. I know I'm kind of being judged. But that's a good feeling, too, because, at the end, when you get to know each other and you see what everybody can do, to me, that's
it's
really
a good feeling for you because you're a warrior. You know what I mean? We're talking about the guy who has never done a contact sport in his life.
Right. Well, and that's why I always, and everybody at my gym, and I've seen Tim do it too, when a new person comes in, we make sure to let them know, hey, you're welcome here. And at the end, when class is over, hey man, thanks for coming.
Yeah,
I hope you're going to come back.
Yeah.
That's something I have to constantly remind myself of. Like you said, I've been doing martial arts since I was 12. Like I grew up in a gym. This is home to me. But I couldn't tell you how many times I've had people, like we're on the mat training, and they walk up to that door and like lean in. They won't even step through the threshold because they're worried that they're going to do something wrong, or
It's really hard for men like us to not be empathetic, but we like right now in this class behind us, we have some men that weigh 140 pounds, and we have a girl that weighs under 100 pounds, and then we have another girl that weighs 125 pounds. Like, for us to put ourselves in that perspective of fear, that perspective of what it's like to walk into a gym. For us walking in a gym, it's a different thing. Like, we've been doing it, like you said, our entire life. This is home to us, even a new gym. And we know that we're like, we're intimately familiar in a humbling way with our liabilities and our assets, what we're good at, what we're not good at. And where they don't even know. They don't even know what they don't know. And how fearful that is for them, and how courageous it is for them to walk into the gym.
It is. It takes a hell of a lot of courage to sign up for this class. I think takes courage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To come back for the second day really shows the true warriors spirit.
And there was quite a few people day before, for the civilian class. I was talking to some of the guys on Friday, and I could see them like almost visibly shaking. Like I don't know what I'm in for. I hope I'm gonna make it. I hope I can do this, and you'll be fine. Like they expect you to be a ball of mush. That's why you're here. They're gonna train you and show you the right path. They don't expect you to be a hard ass already.
I think if you can come into a thing like this and realize just how ineffective you are and how sad you are at defending yourself and the ones you love, and you can accept that, I think that's the first step to becoming a better protector of the people you love, because a lot of people will run from that. They'll realize, holy shit, my brain does not like what I just fucking experienced, or the realization I just came to. So I'm going to run from it.
But that's why every new class, especially the civilian class, not so much the law enforcement, but I always make it a point for the civilian classes that I congratulate all of them just for being there. I'm like, congratulations to all of you. You've recognized a need, and you've taken a very courageous step. That you're going to put yourself out here and expose. And some of these guys and ladies are, in their world, they're at the top of the food chain. They're not used to being the only person in the room who doesn't know.
They
what's
might be
going
very
on.
successful in their business or wherever they're at.
It's a big change. What else you got, man? We're coming up on the hour.
We got to go. They have 30 minutes until they start fighting for guns and knives for their life. That's what's 30 minutes away.
So
30 minutes till we stab
we got to go train a new tourniquet. You got to go teach that lot of instruction.
Yes, we do.
They have.
Really quick before we go, though, both of you, I want you to talk about where they can find you guys, where they can find your gyms.
I'm here in Sandy, Utah, Salt Lake City. It's Elite Performance, or you can find me online, eliteperformancegym.com, and a handful of social media platforms that I despise but reluctantly use.
If you need to find, click on my stuff, my streams. I'm tagging Jeremy's gym in every single post. So if you just go to the dates that we're here in Utah, you can click on any of those pictures, and you'll find all of Jeremy's social media information and Trevor's, which he also doesn't ever do. This is part of business. You realize
I know.
It's a horrible.
I'm working on it.
I can't. I keep getting in fights with liberals. I can't do it.
I have an Instagram account. It's got 15,000 followers, and I have like 11 posts. And 3 of them my dogs.
I have done more posts of you that we've been here in 4 days than you have done
ever.
Right. I'm I'm terrible at it.
Well,
Where's your gym?
my gym's in Hayden, Idaho, or Coeur d'Alene, Idaho area. Trevor Prengley's AKA. Website is tpaka.com. And yeah, I mean, just we like to train people. I had a mission statement, you know what I mean? When I was done fighting, I decided I'm done fighting, you know what I mean? I'm not only done fighting, but done with fighters for the most part. I have a few that I like, but my mission statement is to create a great environment for people who just love the sport, who never want to fight in their lives, they never want to compete, but they just want to be a part of this great industry that's given me what I have. And that's what my gym is focused towards, is to take that average Joe out of the couch, put him on the mat, and let him be a part of this sport, part of the jiu-jitsu, part of kickboxing.
It's community. It's a
Yeah,
family.
yeah, and I don't care if, in fact, I don't want you to ever fight. I don't want you to ever fight. I just want you to be
The best
good
version of
at,
yourself.
yes, that's what mine is. I don't. This is what I tell fighters. They're like, well, I'll have a good fighter from the area come in and think they're doing me a favor. I'm like, look, dude, I built my own legacy. I don't need you to fucking build mine. I'm not one of these fat black belts that needs to train a bunch of fighters for his own, so that he feels good about what he's accomplished. I've accomplished way more than I ever set out to do. I set low standards for myself, by the way. but that's what I want. I want guys who want to come in and humbly learn and just be the best they can be and enjoy the sport, you know.
Absolutely. Outstanding. For people interested in training through Sheepdog, Blake's making me do this. Tim hates it when I do plugs on the podcast, but
I know. I think you should.
We gotta
I think
get the word
everybody
out
should
because
do it.
people need.
One
to
of
know
them
this.
is this might be the one time I'm not gonna be bitter about it.
Yeah.
We're going to Las Vegas.
We are going to Las Vegas. We December 6th through 7th, we're doing a law enforcement and military course, and the 8th through 10th, we're doing a civilian course. That's in Las Vegas. Go to the website, find it, register.
And
okay?
I don't care if you live in Las Vegas, come to this goddamn course.
Yeah.
We will make room for you.
Yeah.
We always have a cap. We're bringing extra instructors. We've talked to the facilities to get extra guys. So if you're a first responder, if you're a firefighter, if you're military, you're law enforcement, you're in the Las Vegas area, I am so sorry that we were 3 weeks too late. We should have been there before. I'm sorry that we weren't, but we're there. We're going to be there now, and we're going to give you everything that you need to know about how to stay alive.
That's December 6th through 7th for the law enforcement, 8th through 10th for the civilian. Before that, coming up end of October, 28th through 29th, we're going to be in Ponca City, Oklahoma. That's a law enforcement course. And in November, we have a Spectrum of Tactical Emergency Care trauma course, November 10th through 12th in Austin, Texas. Really important that you make that course.
We have the gala for the Sheepdog
Yeah,
Survival
we have the
Fund.
gala for the Sheepdog Survival
Shane
Fund
Steiner
is
is-
on the 11th. Shane Steiner's
No, the
going to
10th.
on the 10th.
I think it's on the Friday night.
Then it's the 10th.
I think so. We lost the first person that ever donated a single cent to the foundation. Brandy was one of the sweetest women I've ever met. Gregarious, loving, a fighter that had endured horrors that you never wish on any woman, and is in the gym trying to prevent it from ever happening to her again. Courage that you can't find in this day and age. It's a rare commodity, and she just lost a battle with her health that young, beautiful, vibrant woman with a young baby at home, with a beautiful, spectacular husband. Our hearts are breaking, but at that gala, we're going to dedicate that night to her, and we're going to be raising money for the Las Vegas event to make sure we can get every first responder we can possibly get in those doors, get tourniquets for everybody. We've got work to do,
Be there.
and we need help.
Yeah, if you're anywhere in Central Texas, you have and you're hearing this right now, you have no excuse not to be at that gala, not to be given to the Sheepdog Survival Fund. Thank you, Tim. Jeremy, it was a pleasure, my brother.
Thanks
It was
for
really nice
having me,
to
Dude, I love these guys.
Great to meet you.
It's just awesome to sit around here with all three of us have fought each other in one time or another. And it's just
know.
here we sit and talking about fighting tyranny. It's awesome.
That's what true warriors are like.
Fighting tyranny.
That's what true warriors are
Love
like.
this guy.
Speaking of true warriors, I'm going to close with a quote that everyone has heard, but most people do not know who it comes from. This actually came from Marcus Aurelius. And Marcus Aurelius said, "Death smiles at us all, but all a man can do is smile back." Remember that. Until next time, be a sheepdog.
You have been listening to The Sheepdog Project. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Sheepdog Response. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the individual and do not represent any larger entity, public or private.